Today we're going to be discussing atoms. So what are atoms? They're these really small particles that make up matter and everything in our universe, including you. You have about 7 followed by 27 zero atoms that make up your body. That's just how small they are. So, what make up an atom? An atom is made up of 3 subatomic particles. The positively charged proton, marked in red, the neutrally charged neutron, which is in the gray, and a negatively charged electron, which is in blue. So why are these 3 subatomic particles significant? So the proton, how many protons an atom has, defines what element the atom is. And this cannot be changed by chemical means, only radioactive. We'll touch on that further in a later video. So, say an atom has 1 proton. And protons and neutrons, by the way, are located in the nucleus or the center of the atom, just like the nucleus of a cell, if you've ever learned about that. So let's say this atom has 1 proton. Now, we can determine what element has 1 proton by looking at the periodic table. So by looking at the periodic table, we can see that the element with 1 proton, or the atomic number 1, corresponds to hydrogen, or the letter H. So we can determine that this atom is going to be a hydrogen atom. Now, the number of neutrons determine the isotope of the atom. An isotope is differences in the mass of the atom. And how do we know the average mass of a hydrogen atom? We also look at the periodic table. Usually underneath the letter of the element is a average number. So this is the average mass of hydrogen. And protons have a mass of about 1 atomic unit. And neutrons also have a mass about 1 atomic unit. 1 AMU for both. However, electrons weigh just about nothing, unlike protons and neutrons. So since we already know that if we change the number of protons, the element will change, the only way to change the mass would be to change the number of neutrons. So since the mass number is really close to 1, that means it's really common that hydrogen has no neutrons, because 1 plus 0 would equal 1, which is really close to 1.008, the average mass of a hydrogen atom. But it can also exist in nature as having 1 neutron or 2 neutrons. Now, the number of electrons can determine the charge of the element. So if it's neutrally charged, it would have 1 electron. And the electron, like planets orbiting the sun, orbits the nucleus. So the electron is basically in this apparatus called the electron cloud of the atom.